Yeah, we can talk about it after, but yeah, go ahead.
All right, what's going on, guys? We're live. Phil here. Cruz is here. We have a lot to talk about. Thank you guys, everyone who's watching. I'll say this again throughout the show. Thank you guys for showing up last week. It was a really good time. Um, I know, Cruz. Cruz had a good
Oh yeah,
time.
last week was great. Yeah, last week
Um,
was a lot of fun.
so lot going on. I think one of the things that we want to do is we just want to get right to it. There was actually a few other topics that I didn't list during the course of the email, of course, for particular reasons, because like I told you before, um, I have to be a little bit careful about sending emails and things like that. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, let's just jump into it. Cruz, get the jump off.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, it's no. I mean, anybody that's there, and feel free to while we're going along, jump in comments if you have anything that you want to say or talk about. Definitely. But my hot topic, and of course, the same topic that's been going across the U.S. is the most recent shooting involving police officers, which is Jacob Blake out in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So of course, day one, it looks pretty bad. You hear just the headline. He was there breaking up a fight, which we know is an absolute lie now. If you haven't heard that, yes, he was not there breaking up a fight. He was the one that the 911 call was called on against. The cops were there for him. Wasn't somebody doing a decent thing.
And I think that's one of the issues, right, that we're coming across is that everyone's getting all worked up like way before anything really surfaces out there. And I think there's a little bit of, there needs to be a little bit more kind of completion to what's going on for anyone. I understand, like, yeah, it's a bad situation that occurred, right? But one of the issues that I have with these types of things is that everyone already makes a decision right in the beginning, or already kind of has judgment right in the beginning before
Oh,
gathering the whole story.
I mean, everybody does. I do too.
Yeah.
I see the headline come across, and my initial thought is, this is probably true. Please, please don't be true. Like, please, please don't be true, because this is like the last thing that we need right now.
Oh yeah.
It's just going to spark more violence, more burning of cities, more looting. Just giving people that are out to cause unrest, that are just out for no good, just complete cause and more opportunity to do that and hurt really decent American citizens, decent businesses across the country, not just in Kenosha, but they still spark up everywhere. I mean, Portland's still burning. So the second I see that, I'm just thinking, and I mean, I'm not even thinking about the poor gentleman that's killed. And even though we'll get into it, I don't really care for this gentleman. He was not. Doesn't seem like he was a very good person. We'll say it's still unfortunate that he ended up dying. Like, the last thing that we want is anybody dying, anybody being shot. But my first thought is, please, we don't need this. Like, we do not need more cities burning. This is not what we need right now. This is not what we need ever. Everything needs to settle down for a little while so we can actually have reasonable discussions, which you can't have right now. So that's my initial thought, is like, this is definitely real. Comes to turn out, oh, lo and behold, look, and everybody that's out there jumping to conclusion, lo and behold, look, there might be a few more facts that actually makes this potentially a very justified shooting. Do I think, even after watching the video, all the current facts, that could something else potentially have been done to stop him before he got that close to the door? Maybe. But it's definitely a debate, and I can definitely see how the cops got to that point easily and were easily within their right to shoot at that point in time, knowing, now that we know they told him to drop the knife. We know that there was a knife found on the floorboard. He's about to get into the car, angry after fighting with police officers with children in the back, and then do what? Drive away at the speed limit? with kids in the back, like that's what's going to happen. He's going to drive away and obey all traffic laws while leaving this scene with children in the back of a vehicle, with the vehicle being a deadly weapon. Like how can you can't let him go with those kids being in the back, whether they're his kids or anything along those lines. So I guess we can go down the path of better police training that they should have, with a couple, three officers there, been able to subdue him with combined effort before he got to that. We want to debate that. Sure. They didn't, why weren't they able to? We can debate and we can figure out the training along those lines.
Well, I think part of it too is like if the cops do something right, whether they do something that didn't result in the same manner that it is right now, right? I think it's damned if they do and damned if they don't, because like I said, my opinion watching the videos, because
And I said he was. I mean, sorry, he was killed. He wasn't. He's only paralyzed. I apologize. I don't
yeah,
know why I said he was killed. He was shot. Apologies. It's
yeah.
unfortunate that the gentleman was shot. We never want somebody to experience that. And obviously, he potentially could have died, of course, from being shot.
Well, it's again, it's like when I think about this type of stuff, it's like probability. You know, it's the same manner of like if someone decides that they're going to invest early in life, that the potential of having more financial security in the future is a much higher percentage. In this same kind of context, if someone is responding to the cops and just reacting to them a certain way, the probability of the situation escalating is going to only increase. I mean, that's just a given. On top of, this guy has a history of being a troublemaker. Like this was a 911 call on a domestic violence, right? That was or a domestic. It was a call in regards to this domestic disturbance.
It was a
So
domestic disturbance called against him involving his the mother of his children, who the open warrant against him was against an incident from those two that they had in July. He was there harassing her again against the woman that he had sexually assaulted and had an open warrant against. And this is a great man. Yeah,
well,
definitely a great man.
here's the thing too. So in kind of just the at least I'm going to put it on the context of the police officer. So the police officers I'm sure are well aware or privy of some of the background information on Jacob
Oh,
Blake.
they were absolutely aware.
So
So
so that
in the
already
911 call, they
yeah.
knew they had been to this address for previous calls. There was nothing that was not known. They were going into the situation knowing exactly who they were dealing with.
Yeah. So already there, the cops are going to be on guard. If someone goes into if someone's very suspicious, walks away from the cops, when you're supposed to just, like I said, I've been pulled over by cops, like if everyone just follows the routine, yes sir, no sir, the probability of things going more smoothly is going to increase or be in the favor of someone that got pulled over. You know, like I'm a person of color, right? Obviously, but
Yeah,
in that context, every time I've gotten pulled over, you don't see me talking back to the officer. You don't see me, you know, causing a ruckus. Walking away. It's yes sir, no sir. Do you need my license? You go through the routine. You just go through it calmly. You know, and if there is some type of infraction, it's going to be brought up. And yeah, sometimes there's going to be bad situations that maybe the cop has a bad day, you have a bad day, whatever it is, right? But essentially, if the chances of things working out in someone's favor, if they get pulled over and they just respond in a respectable way to an authority figure, it's going to be it's it's not going to be as bad. Like I said, That's not in all cases, but following those methods, will at least yield a better chance or better probability of situations turning out a lot better. At least,
I mean, it ups your chance and it puts you firmly in the position of being right too.
yeah,
If you want a firm leg to stand on,
yeah, it's
start off by being a decent person.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
You can't come from not being a good person, being in the wrong, and then suddenly expect to be right. You got to start off from coming from a place of being a good person, doing good, and being right
Yeah.
in order to have a high horse to stand on. So what really, it's they stop burning. What really irked me about this whole situation was that before any facts are out, jump to conclusion. Media, again, doing a huge disservice to everybody out there. All of the media doing a big, big disservice. Celebrities, the NBA, everybody just jumping on saying, you got LeBron James, bleep this. This is no facts, no nothing, just immediately sparking. And what happens? Kenosha riots spark up. People get shot and killed. Police aren't able to be out there and stop these riots and stop doing their jobs. And lo and behold, what's happening now? People are starting to take defense into their own hands, and we're starting to get violent clashes. What a surprise. What a surprise.
Well, okay, so I'm going to add another tragic story to this, and it's more of a rest in peace and something that has not really been brought up on the media. And again, because there's a possibility, in a lot of kind of smaller media groups are talking about this. There was a white child, that was shot in the back of the head by a black man,
Oh, yeah,
and
for riding his bike on his lawn.
and crickets, nothing, no information. The kid's name was Cannon Hinnett or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and again, so it's like, so the sad part is, right, that something like the Jacob Blake thing gets elevated extremely high in the media. And then the problem is, we're ignoring some of these things that doesn't fit the normal stream of information that's being put out there. Like, yes, is you know, did a bad thing happen to Jacob Blake? Yes. You know, are there significantly worse things happening to a lot of people across the world in the U.S.? Oh, absolutely. And this whole situation, especially with this whole Jacob Blake thing, has really caused like um, you know, this explosion of problems now in Kenosha. And as
Yeah.
as
And
you
I
were
mean,
saying, there was that the
of
violence.
course. And like, it is unfortunate. And so the issue isn't, I don't feel the issue isn't that he was shot. I feel at that point in time that there was a split second decision where finally the officer decided, like, I have to shoot in order to solve this problem. That was what was decided. He was going to physically somehow be able to harm these children or somebody else. If he had the knife, started
Mm,
driving the vehicle, he made the call.
yeah.
My big argument with the whole situation would be that there was three officers. They should have been able to subdue him. The guy wasn't this overly big, huge guy that should have been able to outmaneuver the three officers. The three officers should have been able to take him down before he got to the door. So we can go down that path, talking about the training. They should have been able to work together. Something more along those lines is definitely up for debate, of course. But him being shot, the other items, I mean, it's he was gonna drive off with the kids in the car. Like, even if he was going to speed away with the children in the car.
Yeah.
And what? You start chasing them? You start chasing them, you just let him go? It's just, it had reached an escalate, it had reached that point, and unfortunately, he had to be shot.
Yeah. So, anyone that's out there, just a quick touch up, because number of viewers jumped up fairly quick here in just in a moment. But Cruz and I are talking about we're summarizing some of the things that were going on with the situation in Kenosha with Jacob Blake, and kind of doing some talking points on that. So if you guys have an opinion or have come across some information in regards to how you guys feel about it, we'd like to hear about what you guys think, because obviously we have a certain opinion about this as well, and I think Cruz can agree with me on this, is that we like to gather as much information regardless of how we feel in the beginning of a given situation. Once the news is out there with something tragic like this that went on, but as we're talking about it, like I said, over the course of the weekend, maybe even parts of today, we're looking up some information about some of the aftermath, things that occurred, and things like
Oh
that
yeah,
with this situation.
things are
So
changing all the time with it. Like you need to wait and get the facts. I mean, you can be angry with the officers, okay, but guess what? The way things are right now, those officers, you bring light on it, they're gonna go through the due process, no
yeah,
matter what happens nowadays. I feel pretty confident that anything along those lines, like they're gonna get their due process appropriately. If this was, if they were in the wrong, send them to jail. Who cares? Let them go. I did terrible. If that's what happened, then definitely convict them, send them away. If that's what the case is, I'm not going to defend them.
yeah,
Um, but if it's not, so the people that are doing the huge disservice, the people that are, burning your cities right now, is the mainstream media and the celebrities. Those are the people that are burning your cities, because they are immediately reporting things that are absolutely incorrect. The first day out, they're reporting that he was there being a good person, breaking up a domestic. He wasn't breaking up a domestic dispute. He was the one
yeah,
causing it.
yeah. He was the one causing it. Yeah. So again, if you guys have an opinion on this, please give us your thoughts, because I think it's important to get this discussion open. You know, I think one of the most important things is part of the reason why Cruz and I talk about this type of stuff. And again, I can't stress this enough. I mean, he and I are going to be traveling, pretty soon, and we want to make sure that we're safe. We want to make sure the people that we're going to be meeting up with and doing stuff out in areas that we're not going to be familiar with, not as familiar as our hometown, that they're safe. And then on top of that, you know, one of the key things that happened over the course of the weekend since the Kenosha situation is that they've actually Charlie Baker has actually got the National Guard, 1,000 National Guard people in Massachusetts as anticipation of a probable um, thing going on here in Massachusetts. So
Oh yeah, I mean, let's be serious. Charlie Baker, that dictator, needs to not worry about the National Guard. He needs to open up some restaurants with the highest unemployment in Massachusetts.
yeah,
It's a joke.
that's another story. We were talking about that last week, but
Yeah,
but
that guy. I mean, I guess all the restaurant owners didn't pay that phony enough money. It is slush fund for them to open up. It's the only thing the guy's good for.
well, I definitely don't disagree with you, the whole restaurants thing, because I mean we
But we're
were
not we're not on that. That we'll cover that on a
yeah.
different one.
But the main thing that we want to point out, I mean, our family and friends are here in New England, right? We have family. Some of you actually might have family and friends in these other areas. You know, to us, like I've to us, that's an important thing. When you could have someone that could be extremely close to some of this heavy activity that's going on. I know Cruz was talking about one of his buddies out in Chicago, was near a lot of what was going on out there. So he was getting firsthand
Well, he
perspective.
looks out his window. He just looks out his window one night. All of a sudden, choop choop. Little caravan going down, little looting caravan, a real organized looting caravan protest. Boop boop boop. Yeah, so they're just out there looting. It's just an excuse to burn stuff and steal stuff. It's not out there trying to do anything good. and then the media is just giving them free excuses to.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's a little bit of immunity that people are having because okay, if they're part of a ethnic culture, right? Well, they can do no wrong because right away the media portrays them as like, oh, they were the good guys in the story without having the whole story being divulged to the public. And then so everyone automatically gets angry at the situation, and then you got celebrities getting involved without portraying the story correctly, and then on top of that, now it's hard to go back to coming down to the facts, right? Because everyone's so worked up prior to any information being exposed. So no matter, like I said, for the cops, it's like I was saying before, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't on whatever they're doing. So maybe that was the thing that was going on in the officer's head before things escalated, right? Was that like, oh, I'm not gonna touch this guy because if I do something, you know he's gonna be labeled, he's gonna get doxxed. So, but the guy goes into his car. There was a knife at the floor of this floor of the driver's side vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, everyone has a judgment, everyone has an idea, but when someone's in the actual situation is when they realize, like, whatever they thought they were going to do sometimes doesn't turn out exactly that way, especially under a situation where it's high stress. There's there's danger involved. I mean, there's a lot of variables that come into play with being in those types of situations. And I kind of use the example of like traveling, being able to, when someone travels, right? And especially if you travel for a long period of time and not everything is planned, you know what I mean? And especially in the situations that we're in right now, you're going to try to plan as far ahead as you can. But at the same time, when you arrive there, you are there. There is no, you people can go back, on their plane, but once you arrive, it's like you're arrived and you're in a completely different environment.
Yeah, once you land, that's
And Cruz, I mean, you brought it up, when you were in Denver, like the first day, it was extremely stressful, being out of place, different routine, and that's the type of things that people will encounter in these types of scenarios, right? When you go out there, that that's one level of stress. Now add another level of stress when there's kids in the vehicle. There's this guy who has a warrant, against him. He's he the there was a 911 call for domestic violence. I mean, you start putting those things together. I mean, your hairs are standing on end. And that's one of the things that again,
yeah. I
it's
mean,
very difficult.
based on his prior history, the fact that it's for a domestic assault, they already know him. He has sexual charges. He had been previously charged with brandishing a gun um, and getting into assault at a bar. So previous incident with a weapons possession. You're going there with a certain mindset to deal with this gentleman
Oh yeah,
who's obviously had prior issues. So, and I said this to you before. So, media, everybody jumps to conclusions. NBA and all of them. This is the one that really got me. And somebody, yeah, and I'll give credit to forget if it was Officer Tatum or one of them that had mentioned it.
yeah, I like that guy.
Was they walked off this group, this sporting league walks off, doesn't play. I'm not talking about the NBA. I'm talking about the WNBA.
Hmm.
The WNBA walks off in support of this gentleman who is a known abuser of women and sexual assaulter of women. What? Like, without all the facts, without it, you walk off in support of this gentleman. You can say it was in support of the cause overall and everything, but you know what? If I would just maybe pick a better figure, pick a little bit more of an upstanding citizen. If you're gonna die on a hill and fight on a hill, just pick a little bit more a better martyr than this gentleman,
Yeah.
especially when you're playing in a women's league and he's a known abuser of women. That's, I mean, just seems a little funny. Seems a little funny is all I'm going to say.
Well,
I mean, and then NFL, like not having practices over this guy. Like the NFL, yeah, you guys, I know you guys are going to do the right thing, but let's be serious, NFL. I mean, you don't really have a very good track record with the old, domestic abuse, given, the Ray Rice incident. Give him 2 games for knocking his wife out cold in an elevator. Yeah, you guys may want to just avoid the support for domestic violence people and sexual abusers, so you guys get your policies a little more cleaned up too.
all right. Any NFL employees, if you're watching this, all right.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's obviously based on your. I mean, I would have expected it from the NFL based on your previous history of how you support your domestic violence abusers in your own league. I would expect you to come out and support this gentleman because that's just kind of your MO. So congratulations, guys.
Yeah. So Penny
Whatever. I'm
Pincher.
still gonna play fantasy football this year, so I'm a hypocrite too.
Well, I mean, it's entertainment. It's like, again, it's one of those things where the same thing with the restaurant, right? Like the whole closure of all this stuff, and then people still need their entertainment to make their days pass by, especially since the winter is coming and it's going to be colder, so people are going to be stuck inside even more. I mean, not like people weren't inside anyways, but even more so once the winter hits. So again, so it's yeah, everyone still needs to be entertained. But
Yeah.
the NFL getting
With the,
involved with these types of
the celebrities and the NBA too and stuff. Like I'm not fully on board when people are like, oh, LeBron James, you need to shut up. You've been famous. You don't even know what it's like. Like, okay, once he was like 16 or 17 or so, like you knew he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 15. He got his Nike contract for 90 million or whatever at 18. Okay, at that point in time, like his life was significantly different, of course. But you don't actually know what he dealt with when maybe he was 7 or 8 or 9, when he was actually just a kid. He could have had some incidents growing up that gave him a different perspective and everything. I completely understand that, and I can understand why he might have certain feelings. But you're a grown adult now. Let the fact, like, at least do your due diligence and just investigate the facts and everything before you incite people. That's all I'm asking.
yeah.
I'm not asking for you to change your perspective and how you grew up. And I don't think you're super pampered, because I think that no matter what amount of money you have, you could have mental health issues just like everybody else or anything along those lines. There's no amount of money that is going to stop that. There's no amount of fame or anything that's going to stop anything like that. And no amount of money is going to change your perspective of what happened to you when you were a little kid. So you still have to respect him for that. But I will not respect his adult decisions on not following up and investigating facts before using his platform. That I will not support no matter what.
Sure. And so Penny Pincher has some comments here. The negligence is showing in the polls. People are sick and tired that they're actually leaving the Democratic states. 4 Democratic leaders in Minnesota announced that they're endorsing Trump.
There are 6 mayors. I saw that, Penny Pincher. 6 mayors coming out saying the Democratic Party, we did not leave them. The Democratic Party left us.
I mean, let's be realistic here. They've gone way out of they've gone way out in space. They've gone.
Oh,
It's
they are the Democratic Party is NASCAR. I know NASCAR is red, but just like NASCAR, they just turn left. They only go left. There is no other direction. Okay.
No, Zoolander. They're not.
Just turning left the whole way.
They're not ambi turners. They don't know how.
Yeah.
They don't know how to turn around.
They're not ambi turners. No, one direction, one complete direction. So I mean, so that's a great point, Penny Pincher. So if you're out there and maybe you might be liberal, you might be a Democratic supporter. Okay, guess what? Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, key swing states as far as the election goes. Very key swing states as far as the election goes. Okay. You keep inciting these uprisings and having Democratic mayors not allow their police force to step in and protect their citizens, what do you think is going to happen coming this election? You're not helping yourself. If you actually wanted to help yourself and get rid of the big bad orange man, you would not be burning stuff down. You would not be doing this right now. This is leading up to prime time as far as the pushing for campaign. We're going to be in September.
Yeah,
There's September and October, and then you vote. This is the run up. So you're just going to be sitting there and just most of the population. I don't know if you know this. Most of the population doesn't actually decide the election. There's only like 15% of the people that swing back and forth that decide the entire election. Most people are already decided which way they're voting, no matter what ads come out, no matter what happens. So you're going to take those 15 people and you're going to swing them over.
I think let's be realistic here, okay? Um, so obviously there are these protests that have been going on. So the situation in Kenosha, which was kind of weird.
That's not a protest. That Kenosha, I don't even think a lot of the places at least had a bit of a protest. I don't know if Kenosha actually even had a protest. Kenosha was just riot and
Oh yeah, yeah.
gunfire.
I was just putting it. I was just putting it lightly. I was just putting it.
Yeah, no, I know. I can't even. You can't even use the like. You can use protest on most of the other places that at least started or have done protests. Kenosha has not done a protest.
Well,
That has just been straight riot.
I've seen more of the liberal media just be like, "Oh yeah, it's riot in Kenosha." They're like, it's just straight chaos out there."
Oh yeah, you want to know why? Because the polls are now showing that people are moving over and are really, really tired of these riots. So, now the media is going to start condemning them. Huh, that's an interesting turn of events all of a sudden.
I, I think for the most part, people want a calm life, right? Unless they're into heavy drama and stuff like that, and people want to feel safe and things. When you get to that point when people are taking up arms and forming their own militias out in the streets because they want to protect, their family or friends' business, their house and things like that. Um, you know, that's when, chaos is really just going to ensue because now you don't have an authority enforcer to control what's going on. That's part of the reason why there are police. And yeah, sure, there are there bad cops. Yes, absolutely. But for the majority of the time, like I said, yes sir, no sir, just follow the same protocol, right? Be a good person to other people, and you're not going to run into those types of issues, um, you know, on a more frequently than you would if you did. So with that in mind, it's like you have to wonder what's going on in people's heads that are in the middle of all this stuff going on. That these types of things are happening in their neighborhoods. Do they really want the police not to be there? Do they really want someone? Dude, I saw some videos. Like someone was at some store and they were sitting on a bench, and these BLM protesters where it was actually very scary to watch because they were hoarding all around, surrounding this one lady and like
Oh,
harassing
at the
her.
restaurant because she wouldn't raise her fist up, just
Yes,
screaming in her
yes,
face.
yes, yes, that. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So that
um, you know, is that is that what like is that what it's all about? Like you have to follow what this large group is trying to insinuate. Why can't that lady just have her meal in peace?
it's not a large group. I mean, all this stuff. I mean, I'm biased, of course, but I think they're gonna just enjoy a Trump win and come November 3rd. Like it's just gonna happen. Like he didn't lose anyone. Anybody that voted for him 4 years ago, we talk about it all the time. I don't really like the guy. I'm a
Yeah.
conservative. I'm gonna stick to my conservative ways. I don't really care for him, but that's the conservative party. I mean, I will not vote for the liberal side. I don't support anybody. I don't support any of the group that is currently running the Democratic Party right now. So I may not enjoy who we have running, but that's who I'm going to vote for. No, who that voted for him 4 years ago is going to vote differently this upcoming election? Zero. So you can just all those votes are there, right?
Yeah. Well, again, it's like, when you start looking at the safety of people, and you're looking at, the situation that people are in right now, it's, you know, I really just don't think people are just going to be about defunding the police. I just don't see that happening. Considering
No, I mean,
considering the safety of people that just want to live their life, and you know um, not have to deal with these types of things. And it's actually a scary thing that the possibility of this happening in places that you wouldn't think would happen could just show up. Like, that's scary because it puts
so there's
everyone at risk.
there's a local sports player, NFL, Devin McCourty, that actually had some great comments. He's based on other comments that he's made. Obviously, he's an NFL player, plays for the Patriots. Devin McCourty, I'm sure the people that we have on are familiar with him. Very well spoken gentleman. Of course, he's supporting equality and tons of different things. But he said, there's what is not playing right now going to solve. We need actual real discussion and real solutions. He's not happy with things. He's not happy with the way that there is some underlying racism in different areas, of course, and from his personal experiences growing up in life. But he's articulate and intelligent enough to recognize that just not playing and yelling and screaming is not going to solve anything. He actually wants to figure out real solutions, which is a great to see. Why he doesn't get more coverage. It was great to hear him and hear somebody speaking like that.
Yeah. So, a few more comments. Tam family had a few things here. So on C-SPAN, they had callers from all across the country announcing they are officially leaving Democratic Party, switching to Republican. Did any of you guys notice the Trump boat parade in Florida? It wasn't on the
I
mainstream,
I heard about it, but I didn't see it
it's,
yet.
and it broke the world records. Um, I guess for a boat
Stupid.
parade.
So dumb.
I didn't see it. I didn't know about it, but I've seen a bunch of the Trump commercials with the boats and stuff like that.
Did they? Oh God, it's he's. I'm interested. I wish it happened earlier today because maybe we'll talk about it next week. He's heading over there. He's heading to Kenosha tomorrow.
Yeah.
The mayor goes. The mayor goes. You're not welcome. He goes. I'll see you on Tuesday.
That sounds like a
I
Trump thing
mean,
to do.
he says the dumbest stuff sometimes, but sometimes I can't even pretend. Like, he makes me laugh sometimes. Like, if you don't laugh once in a while at some of his comments, I mean, whatever. You don't have a great sense of humor. Like,
Oh,
you're too caught up.
you know what it is? Like, he's a serious guy, but he knows not to take everything too serious. And I think that's what makes it very entertaining.
I'll
Um,
see you on Tuesday. Okay.
yeah. So no, it's one of those things. I think anyone that doesn't like Trump or anything, if you sit down and you watch some of the conferences, like, you're gonna laugh at least once or twice, because the stuff he says, whether you agree with it or not, is some of it's actually pretty funny.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, sometimes he's going to use, especially as like a conservative supporter, he infuriates me because he gets caught up in his little bickering wars. Like, there's such better topics to be talking about right now. Why you just giving free ammunition? Like, for the love of God, absurdly frustrates me. And then sometimes I'm like, wow, that's just such a jerk thing to do. Like, definitely, of course. And then sometimes, I mean, with his Tuesday comedy, he cracks me up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is a big one going out right now. This particular where everything is, that's a great. I mean, politically and I mean, even just socially, it's the right thing to do. Like, that's the right thing to do. Like, I don't know his exact reasons. Maybe, if you're on the other side, you can disagree with his reasonings on it. Sure. But what he is doing right now, you can't argue. Going out there physically
Yeah.
and going out there and meeting with the people with the way everything is right now is the right thing to do. That's what he should be doing as the commander in chief.
Well, one of the interesting things, right? So I saw the interviews of the parents of Jacob Blake, and one of
And
the
if the mayor, sorry, not to cut you off, and the mayor and the other people out there that are in charge, if they can't get past their politics and set him aside to work with him and work with everybody else to do what's right, then they're the ones that are in the wrong. They're not leaders
yeah,
at all.
yeah, they definitely do have to put that aside. But like I was saying before, so one of the things that I know, so they on the news they interviewed Jacob Blake's parents, and one of the interesting things that was kind of a surprise that the parents actually apparently they apologized to Trump about the whole thing, and it wasn't, and they were saying that it wasn't his fault, like it was a bad thing that happened. They were um very well spoken about it.
I forget who she's an aunt. I forget if she's the aunt of the offender or offendee. But she's like a civil rights attorney. It's for the aunt. It's the aunt of the offendee, the woman who has the charges filed against Jacob Blake.
Yep.
She's a civil rights attorney. She's a civil rights attorney. Takes up a lot of activist causes. She's even saying, "Why are you defending this guy? He's a scumbag." Like she's like, "What are you doing?"
Mm.
Like, she's questioning it. So before even getting the feelings of the people directly involved, the facts around anything, everybody jumped to conclusions, lit Kenosha on fire, got Rittenberg out there running around like he's Rambo, and then having to defend himself. Now, granted, kid, you're 17. Get back in your house. Like, you're 17. You can't legally buy cigarettes. Can't even buy cigarettes for 3 years, 4 years if you're in Mass. Rhode Island is 21 now. You definitely can't buy beer. Go home. Don't run around with your gun. What are you doing crossing state lines with that? You're an idiot. Do I think you defended yourself? Absolutely. But you're still a moron for being out there. Were you right shooting them? Yeah, they were going to whoop you. They were absolutely going to whoop you. The guy that had the pistol that you shot, if you haven't seen it, Rinberg, one of the guys he shot was aiming a pistol at him that he had on him, is actually a registered sex offender in Wisconsin. So he didn't really shoot the most upstanding guy either. Don't worry about that guy. He probably deserved that bullet.
Kind of strange, right? Well, all right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about kind of the stew that these types of situations kind of that kind of attract. You know what I mean? So
well, it's not going to get better. Each one of these is going to escalate. So now you have a mild shooting. We're going to be having flat off standoffs in the street with people firing back and forth at each other. Like, these only get worse. Things don't go backwards.
oh
Just
yeah, yeah,
like
because
the grocery store, toilet paper, it's gone up in price after the great toilet paper pandemic of COVID-19. Toilet paper's back. It costs more than it did before. It's never going to cost less. It's an unfortunate fact. The COVID-19 might have been caused by the toilet paper industry just to raise their prices. Gone
oh,
up like
that's
10, 15%.
that
Conspiracy theory.
that is
You can take that one to the bank, penny pincher. The toilet paper companies started COVID-19 to raise their prices.
All right. So Penny Pitcher brings up another funny conspiracy thing here. What are the odds Hillary Clinton's going to sneak her way into taking Biden's place?
Oh,
Uh,
the swap? No, she's done. Did you see her? Did you see her after she lost? She's done. It
yeah,
broke her.
she's
It
nice.
broke her confidence. It
Nice.
broke everything about her. You know what I will say about Hillary? I watched the Amazon did the full documentary on Hillary Clinton where they followed her during the campaign. That's out there. Then they flash back and forth historically. So whenever she says a particular comment, they flash back to a point in childhood, and they do her childhood chronologically back and forth based on while she's doing commentary across the campaign year. It's a, interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I watched it. You know what? I liked the young Hillary. The young Hillary, super smart, really fought for women's rights. She went to law school during a time when women were not treated equally at all. At all. Like, she was yelled at for taking, you're just here, you're just here taking a man's spot in law school. Just absolutely. So, just head down, worked, did a great job. But the loss, 2016, yeah, she's done. It broke her confidence.
Yeah, but she's still gonna have power, whether or not she's in the public eye and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, I don't agree with her now at all. I would question the whole. I mean, did she know about Bill flying, getting the little kitty massages and stuff, or not? She was kind of around, flying to the old island. I mean, I don't know. Just seems a little odd that she wouldn't know anything about it. So, whether it's your husband or not, just
So
kind of.
so Aaron 5 brought up he didn't bring the rifle across state lines. It was his friends that lived there. So
Was it
um,
okay? Well, thank you for the update. I still stand. I thank you for that. That's good. Good facts. That's what we're here for. I still stand by. He should have just been home playing Call of Duty. You're
Call of
17.
Duty,
Just
Fortnite,
stay home.
just
Yes.
play, you know, doing
Yep.
doing some breakdancing, something,
Yep.
some other activity.
Get yourself a little pint of Ben and Jerry's, brother. Jump down, sit down, watch a little Netflix. There's nothing great on right now. I started watching Umbrella Academy. Yeah, I fell asleep episode 3. It was supposed to be good. It's not really catching me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, even if it was legal, he's what was he? What are you doing out there? Just like Jacob Blake should have known that he was more likely to get shot based on his actions. Our friend Kyle should have known he's much more likely to get involved in an incident based on his actions.
Well, here's the thing. So part of it too, right? Yeah. So he's 17 years old. Those are that's kind of like the age where kids tend to be a little bit more impressionable. There's a lot of angst, and then on top of that, because of that angst, some of that energy just needs to spill out somewhere. So that's
Yeah.
part of the problem. If you look at a lot of the protests and riots and things that were going on, I mean, they're generally speaking, a large majority of them are very, very young. In the
Yeah. And I
teens,
mean, good for him. Good for
20s.
him for willing to fight, right? He's
Yeah.
willing to fight. He's willing to stand up. Of course, well done. He needs a good older mentor to tell him to stay home. This is not the way that we're going to solve it. You're not going to be any better. If they come to you, which they did not, you defend yourself at all costs. He went out. He went there. That's my only gripe with it. Now, what happened there? Getting chased, the flying drop kick he takes, the skateboard smash. If it had gone any farther, it would have ended really poorly for him. He at that point in time, he needed to start firing. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I just think he put himself in a bad spot.
It's it's a very kind of strange dynamic that's going on with society today, because it's weird. It's like, again, it's almost like the cop situation. It's like it's damned if someone does or damned if they don't. Um, so some of the stuff that I've been seeing out there is like, oh, these protests and riots and stuff are coming to a town near you, and it's like, where does it end? Like I said, for someone like Charlie Baker going out there and calling the National Guard as a backup just in case, because of the whole Kenosha thing. So that kind of just tells you too how serious the Kenosha situation was. Just, I mean, if anyone's seen the videos out there, I mean, there's some stuff that was going on out there.
I mean, it's good. You're having gunfights now.
Yeah.
Like we're having open gunfights now. Okay, if anybody doesn't think that they need to stop putting out bad media or brash, drop of the hat tweets and posts and inciting this stuff, you're crazy. Everybody out there with those big platforms, which they need to stop it. Absolutely stop it. Wait, talk, discuss facts, use the civil justice system. Like, it's nuts.
Well, the thing is, I just don't think that's going to get the clicks that they want to get, because it's all about getting the likes, it's all about getting the shares, it's all about that. I mean, it
It is, but I
there's
mean, just, you got to we everybody that wants to have a good voice about it. You need to keep speaking like we're trying to do now. We need to you need to bump up the people that are out there talking about things in an intelligent manner instead of just the reactions. Everybody that has a voice out there like that, you need to start speaking up, against these things, and not just staying quiet, not being worried about what people are going to think and what people are going to say about you, because you have those rights too. You have a right to your voice just as much as they do. You shouldn't be ashamed of, having your different conservative views and different things like that.
yeah, and I think that's part of the situation too, because like, kind of generally speaking, culturally, like, conservatives don't really go out of their way to express what their political, social views are and things like that. So, in this situation that we're in right now, I think a lot of it had to do with everyone just being cooped up. Everything has just been elevated to such a stage where, you know, people just want to crawl out of the cave right now because they've been
Yeah.
stuck inside so much. I mean, kind of ironic. We're inside. We're doing the video
Yeah,
thing,
no, just whatever.
but
But there's a lot of great speakers out there that are trying, and they're trying, but just like we are. Um, so definitely go out, get out, support them, watch them, listen to them. Don't always just agree with anything that they're saying too. Just because they happen to be conservative, you're not going to agree with every single point and everything thing that they say. And
yeah,
just like everybody else, other they're going to be a little disingenuous too, because everybody's got their own viewpoint. So it's always going to be skewed a little bit.
yeah. So
But at least go out and get your facts and make the decision for yourself.
yeah, and I think that to add to that, one of the important things I think everyone, and this is something that I try to do myself. So with the social media and the platforms that everybody uses, it's designed it's designed for us to feed the machine, and the machine feeds us. So the more we consume content that 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 supports our views about whatever it is, whether it's like technology or whether it's political views and things like that, it's going to continuously feed those perspectives to us that and will slowly but surely start to not provide the other perspectives that are available out there. So there's a little bit of a due diligence involved, on everybody's part to, go over to the other side. Let's understand what someone has to say. Let's understand what their perspective is, and really come to at least some grasp of like why they feel the way they do and why they have a particular perspective on certain things. So we have to be diligent about that, because the algorithms that are on Facebook, that are on YouTube, that are on Google, I mean, you know, it's their systems are designed to give you exactly what you want all the time, right? So it's in our responsibility, and I think, and in our best interest, to really seek out, um, to understand. It's better to understand than to be understood. Um, and I think I can't remember which writer said this, and I saw this in one of the comment sections of the videos that I was watching. But it's like, there are people who want to know, and there are people who want to believe. It's some famous author that wrote that. It's actually has some truth to it, right? Because there's some aspects of things where we're just going to believe things just because it's our own bias. But there's other people's that are so much interested in just the facts and the information and data and stuff like that. But again, I think one of the ways that we can curb ourselves from running into those problems where we start putting ourselves in this tunnel of information that we've perpetuated ourselves. You can't blame the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Instagrams. You can only blame ourselves that we're not putting more effort into trying to understand the other person or the other group or whatever it is. So,
Oh yeah, you got to have both platforms. We always say like you got to have both sides. You got to have a couple different sides. I mean, there's a couple things that I don't really back down on, and I'll just be honest. Like, don't come after my capitalism. Everybody has a right to grow, earn what they earn, keep what they keep, and not have to donate it to everybody. I don't care about that. Like, capitalism will help way more people than it will hurt. Within reason, there is bad things about capitalism. We've discussed this. We've talked about it. Big tech, they're really fringing on it right now. They need to get a little oversight, but we already did that discussion. Um,
Penny
and
Pincher.
don't burn down
Go
and
ahead.
don't burn down U.S. American cities. Okay, there's only a couple of real big sticking points. Don't burn down cities. Like, I'm not going to negotiate that. Like, that's wrong. You don't do that. Besides that, yeah, we can have a talk about most things.
Yeah. And so Penny Pincher has some comments here. So it's not strange that this has been the narrative for over 50 years, especially during the elections. The Democrats exploit minorities to mentally manipulate them to emotionally feel they are being oppressed. The Democrats only uses supposed racism only during elections. The rest of the year, they're crickets. Um, I don't know if I completely agree with that because, I mean, they do have their recess, right? In August, all the politicians have the recess in August. Like they have a month off to do
They do.
whatever
Do nothing.
they do nothing. But I
Do
think,
nothing.
but for most of the year, I mean, there's a lot of bills that are being put on the table. One of the biggest things, if you guys are into this, um, they're trying to pass a bill for marijuana to be legalized and reduce infractions for people who were sent to jail and things like that. So that bill is going to be put on the table for the month of September. Um, so be on the lookout for that if you guys are interested in that type of thing. So if you look at, I think it's like Congress.gov, you'll see the list of all the bills that are on the table. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's going to pass as law. It just means that it'll reach the Senate, and then whenever they decide they do to look at that, it'll be probably like a year or two down the road.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit.
So yeah, we didn't get a chance to speak about TikTok stuff, so that might be a discussion later on. And
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess we can get to that. That
um,
most ridiculous cult social media thing that's ever popped up so far. I mean, something's gonna top it eventually, but I mean, you've seen it. Some of the videos that like 2 million people watch this video. It'll be like just a video about absolutely nothing. Like what? Like what have? I mean, I'm gonna start sounding old right now, but I mean, like what happened? What have we become? That like TikTok really came out at a great time.
oh
Like got
yeah,
just enough hype right before everybody got locked up for COVID. Prime, well played. Even second TikTok started COVID-19. Chinese-based company. I don't know. Seems a little suspicious right there. A little COVID, get everybody in the house, just TikToking. Everybody's phone has it.
oh
Infiltration.
there was a lot of people TikToking.
I think that could have happened. Yeah,
Okay, so
we'll go over that another one. The
yeah,
the
what
Kenosha one was kind of a lot bigger this week. I
yeah, I mean,
mean,
it was a big topic. We didn't really know how much content we were going to talk about it, but it was one of those things. It's an important thing. I think it's a very important thing to talk about.
well,
TikTok.
I had mentioned it, and I wasn't gonna like. I had mentioned it. I was like, well, this is just gonna be debatable. If you watch the video and everything, and of course, did they really need to do? Of course, you can have a bit of a back and forth about it. Absolutely, but then it just spiraled. Oh, after I mentioned it to you, it's just spiraled the whole week. The whole week leading up, everything just kept escalating. You ended up getting the fights. You end up getting the shootings. Then you have every single person weighing in about this, which I mean, I do try and I try and understand that I don't have the same perspective as from the NBA. Doc Rivers. Like I didn't grow up. I'm not black. I didn't grow up black, so I don't have the same perspective as him. Doc Rivers is older. I think he's in his 60s now. He obviously grew up during a completely different era when he was really young. I'm sure he has some crappy stories which gave him a different perspective, and maybe it just boiled out when he went on his rant, and it was actually a pretty good little speech. It was very well articulated, but there are blatant ramifications for what they're doing. He needs to understand that he is in a position where he has a very large voice along with the rest of the NBA and everybody else, and it's their civic duty to not jump to conclusions and put out false facts and incite people, because people actually get killed because of that. More people get killed because of that. So,
and I think that's a good close for today. So wanted to thank you guys for joining us in this discussion. Again, we delved a little bit deep in the whole Jacob Blake story, but I think it's a good discussion to talk about. And some other point, we're gonna in some other future episode, we're gonna talk about TikTok and stuff like that. Um, and Penny Pincher brought up a
we
few
got
other
a
things. She refused to
normal
do
week.
the mandatory flu vaccine. She thinks it's BS and it's her choice, for her kids and stuff like that. So
Mandatory flu vaccine. Oh, I did hear about that. We can talk about it. I mean, it's a
yeah,
little past. We can talk about that now. That's insane. Like I get it. There's supposed to be there's certain vaccines that we take. We don't even question them, of course, because not taking them is really bad. The diseases are really bad. The flu does not fall in there. You can't force people to take that. That's nuts.
yeah. So I think before we close, if you guys have any topics that you want Cruz and I to touch on, um, you know, feel free to make any suggestions and things like that. Uh, especially if it deals with stuff like this, travel, questions about upcoming trips or whatever. Feel free to drop us a line. But again, thank you guys for joining us in this important discussion, because I think we do need to have this discussion out there. Open invite to people, other people out there that might have a different view, that we'd really like to get your perspective on these types of things, and maybe jump on the show. We'd like to. I mean, Cruz and I talked about that before, that we want to get different perspectives on here, because I know he and I have a particular view on certain things. There's a lot of cases that he and I agree on a lot of topics, and I think that's good, but also very important that we get other perspectives. So, because I want to be able to think differently. I want to be able to expand, my thoughts on different concepts and stuff like that. That can really, I think, opening up these types of discussions will be beneficial for everybody. So, with that being said, Cruz, you have any other stuff you want to talk about before we close out?
No, that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks for coming. Swipe up, subscribe. If you have anybody else that's interested, send them, let us know. We're obviously trying to just get the dialogue going and keep having these discussions with anybody. And if you want to jump on, you have a different view, you disagree with us, then definitely come on and talk about it. More than happy to have you. More than happy to, even if you want to meet up someplace and sit and have a talk, we can do that too. So.
Yeah, and you got to do it soon, because Cruz and I are
Oh yeah,
are going to be flying out soon. So
yeah, I'm leaving.
Well, you can meet up with him when he's back, but I'm going to be gone for.
You can come. I mean, we can have the debate in Croatia. You can come along. It's fine. It'll be fun.
You can go to Croatia, or you guys can go to Ecuador. Okay.
We can go truffle hunting. It'll be lovely.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, guys, thank you again for joining us, and see you next week.